Okay, hey folks, this is Andrew, and we have had a kind of a abortive beginning there. If you happen to see it on Facebook, I was live, and then my camera went crazy, and so on. But anyway, this is it. We're here, and this is another Missionary Monday live, except it's Tuesday, so I understand that. I know. However, yesterday we were kind of a little busy. I got home. I had a pastor's meeting. I was planning to do it after the pastor's meeting, but after the pastor's meeting, I sat down and we had a conversation. My teammate Francivaldo and myself, we had a conversation, and so that went a little later. And I got home and I was just exhausted. So instead of trying to force something yesterday, I figured I'd do something here while I was still a bit more, shall we say, alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastic. So here we are. I've had a busy week. Lots of great stuff happening. Last week we spoke at a conference at another church. Spoke at a couples conference on Wednesday. Our church service this Sunday was just a real blessing. It was. I really love ministering to the people at our church. Just fantastic group of people. And I'm just really privileged to be able to minister them, working through the book of Luke right now. I wish you'd pray for our church plant. We've got some challenges. Whenever people ask me, how's the church plant going? I say it's going excellent. It's really going great. And lots of things happen. We have, for example, we've been able to train a few guys as far as preaching goes, and actually some of our guys get called out to go and fill the pulpit in other churches. We've got tons of people that are going through the Source of Light ministry courses. We have new visitors. We have visitors every week. Lots of people coming in. We have a new members class that's really great. There's one thing though that and often people ask me, "Wow, things are going." We've got our building program going, and lots of people ask me, "Well, what is it going to take to be able to graduate this church? What's it going to take for this church to be independent and you to be able to move on to a different church plant?" Well, it's basically a financial thing. It's a money thing. And it's not something where I'm saying, okay, send contributions to our work. I mean, by all means, send contributions to our work, but that's not what's lacking. What's lacking is for the money to come from our congregation to be able to support a pastor, because a church cannot depend on outside sources coming in. A local church, they have to be able to depend on their own resources to be able to support a pastor and so on. And right now our church is nowhere near that. I had a kind of a heart-to-heart on Sunday in our business meeting. Our church business meeting was Sunday, our monthly business meeting, and I had a heart-to-heart with them. I showed them the average of church offerings, tithes, and offerings down through the last few months, and I said, guys, lots of stuff is going really great in our church, but this is one thing that has just stayed the same, has not gotten any better at all, and it's just kind of and our church is full. And I mean, just full to overflowing every Sunday, but this stays the same. So something has to change, and it's not that our church doesn't have the conditions to do this, because we do. Within our church, there are people who God has blessed and so on. So just be praying for that. Be praying for our church people to step up and support our church financially. And we're grateful for the offerings we've received outside. And if you look at at our church's, bank account, it's not full to overflowing, but there's a healthy amount there, but that's because God's blessed with outside contributions, and what we're looking for is contributions from within the church. So if you were to ask me, Andrew, what's your prayer request for your church? That's it, right there. For the church to be able to become self-sufficient financially. I'm working on a couple projects to maybe help the church along these lines, so pray for me along those lines. One other thing I want to talk about, kind of give you an idea of the evangelical climate here in Brazil. I'm home on furlough, and I talk about what's going on. And I've been waiting to share this. I was going to talk about this last night, and then last night didn't quite happen. Excuse me, just a moment. For some reason, my camera's kind of low this time, and I feel like I'm going out of the screen. So anyway, this article popped up on Facebook, and it blew me away. Nothing should surprise me at this point. I mean, absolutely nothing should surprise me. But this one did. This is an article, and I'm gonna put the link up if I can do that. Let me see. I'm gonna put the link up underneath underneath the video here. And if I can find the video. Yep, here's the video. And so I am going to put up. By the way, hello to all of you who have left comments, and boa noite. Everyone left the comments in Portuguese, so that's great. That's nice. All right, so here's there's the link. Now, the link's in Portuguese, so I'm going to explain to you what's going on here. This is a link about an evangelical church. Now, here in Brazil, when we say evangelical, it means Protestant. Okay, so it's a Protestant church that donated 11,000 reais, Brazilian reais. That's about $3,000. Nothing to sneeze at. It's a fair amount of cash. Donated 11,000 reais to a bit. I'm gonna get in trouble. The best thing I can use for an American mindset to be able to describe this would be a center of voodoo worship. Okay, now voodoo comes from Haiti, not Brazil. There are differences. It's actually Candomblé, and it's called a terreiro de Candomblé, and there are differences, but the similarities is that they are both They're both syncretism between African religions and Roman Catholicism. That's the similarities. And so in Brazil we have this. In Haiti it's called voodoo. Here it's a few names: Macumba, Umbanda, Candomblé. And so this this evangelical church decided they wanted to show support for the here in Brazil we call it Afro-descendant community, Afro-descendants, the Afro-Brazilian community. And so the way they're going to do this and to show solidarity in doing this is they're going to donate 11,000 reais, about $3,000 US, to an Umbanda, or basically a pagan, for the construction of a pagan worship center. Think about that for a minute. 11,000 reais, $3,000, given by an evangelical church for the construction of a pagan worship center in the name of solidarity and expressing love for the African community. It's hard to know where to begin. When I saw this, and I saw this on a friend of mine's page, and the comment that he left there was positive. And if you go scroll down through my Facebook page, you'll see I actually used a popular meme that shows you've probably seen it on Facebook or whatever. It shows a couple walking down the street, and the boy is kind of checking out this other girl that's walking down the street, and this girlfriend is looking at him like, how can you do that? Right in front of me, and you're checking out this other girl. Well, and then everyone publishes this with all kinds of labels on it. And so in my thing, if you'll scroll down Facebook, you can see it. But it's the boyfriend is the church, the jilted girlfriend is missionaries, and the girl that he's checking out is the terreiro of Candomblé. It's just unbelievable. We have a biblically mandated way of expressing love to people, and that is sharing the gospel with them. Now, the idea is we're expressing love to the Afro-Brazilian community by building this center for their worship. That worship, as with all false religions, it's not just African false religions, as with all false religions, biblically speaking, has its source in hell, has its source in the devil. As with all false religions, in their essence, they're devil worship, they're idolatry. A Christian church has no business building a center of idolatry, building a place, and get this, building a place where when people go there, people will be sent on their way to hell at that place. So how am I expressing my love for the Afro-Brazilian community? By when I'm building a place that will literally send them to hell. That seems to me to be the opposite of love. And yet this evangelical church, having imbibed the postmodern and just really squishy thinking and theology of today, says, "Oh, let's we're gonna do this." And in the comments on Facebook when I saw this, the comment, this shows me that there's hope for humanity. No, this is the opposite of hope for humanity. Hope for humanity is Jesus Christ. They're building a place that's going to point people away from Jesus Christ. They donated 11,000 reais, $3,000, to build a place that will point them away from Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, my church and other mission churches all across Brazil, church plants, are in dire need of funds to be able to build centers of worship, like our church is doing right now, building our building, where people come and worship and hear the gospel. But this church decided, well, we've got $3,000 lying around, what are we going to do? We could give it to a missionary who's preaching the gospel, or we could build a pagan temple. Let's build a pagan temple. Just blows me away. Just absolutely blows me away. So, for you that are listening from the United States, you need to understand this, because you have missionaries ringing up your pastors and ringing up your church phone saying, "Hey, God's called me to Brazil, and I got this when I was on deputation and our pre-field ministry, and I know colleagues of mine have as well." And that is the idea. Well, why are you going to Brazil? Brazil, I read the Wikipedia page, I read whatever, and Brazil is the evangelical movement is growing there leaps and bounds, it's this kind of evangelicalism. Is this kind of squishy thinking. And there's a lot of good fundamental churches that are mostly small. Some of them are larger, but mostly small, that are just fighting this wave of just squishy theology. So when you think of Brazil and the challenges that missionaries face, in fact, I have a colleague who says that he has said, and I agree with him. Experience bears this out. Our predecessors here on the field, the first and second generation missionaries, their main concern was to combat Roman Catholicism. Their main concern, their main opposition came from the Roman Catholic Church. Well, now we deal with churches like the link that I just sent you, and they're our main opponents now, oftentimes, are evangelical churches. The Catholic Church has kind of faded into the background. It's still there. Every once in a while we meet a committed Roman Catholic who knows what they believe, and so we talk to them. I prefer that kind of Roman Catholic to just the nominal ones who don't know and don't care. So every once in a while, but are the big opposite, the ones who are sowing confusion, the ones who are causing all kinds of problems, the ones who are giving a bad testimony for the names of Christ, and the ones who are doing just absolutely stupid things, like what I showed you in this article, are the evangelicals. So that's just a kind of a context thing, and a very interesting thing. Another thing that happened just recently, also on Facebook, someone posted a video, and I'm not going to go through and try to find the video, but of a Brazilian celebrity who was giving her testimony about how she came to Christ. And basically her testimony was this, summarizing it: I heard an evangelical song. The song made me feel good. I went to the cell group, And the cell group made me feel good, and they sang more songs like that. And so now I'm just so happy. And she even says at the end, now, this is my truth. If it's not your truth, then it's no big deal, but it is my truth. And nowhere is there repentance, confession of sin, realization of a need for a Savior, faith in Jesus Christ. Absolutely nowhere. But I had the temerity to comment underneath and mention that, where is this? Where's repentance? Where's faith? Where's Christ? And the responses I got back, how can you be so judgmental? We need less judgmental and more love. How is it love? How is it love to let somebody think like this poor Brazilian celebrity, and I say that with no irony, poor because she thinks she's going to an evangelical church and she thinks something has happened to her because something has happened emotionally. But from what I can tell, based on what she believes her testimony is, she has not had a conversion experience. She has not had a saving experience with Christ. The grace of God has not been applied to her through faith. It just hasn't, biblically speaking. When did it become love to just let those people think they're saved and go on their merry way to hell without explaining what the true gospel is? When did that become love? So anyway, those are a couple little adventures I've had, theological adventures, and I could go all day. They're just indicative. They're indicative of what the mainstream evangelical theology is here in Brazil. So we have our work cut out for us. We appreciate your prayers. Thank you so much for praying for us, and many of you are involved with us. Some of you have asked how the house has come. The house, we have several projects. We're obviously living in the new house, and it's great. But lots of stuff that has to be done. Tomorrow, Lord willing, we're going to be digging a pipe that will go directly from the well to our water tower, and we're going to actually put our water tower. Hopefully this will be done or mostly done by tomorrow. Got a guy coming who's helping with the digging, and some folks gave generous offering to us to be able to do this work and buy the materials and get it done. So that's one more step, just making our home more livable. Some have asked about the church. Our electrician at the church should be finishing today, redoing all the wiring after our original contractor just made a mess, literal spider's web out of the whole thing while I was on furlough. So we, and I mean spider's webs are more orderly. Spider's web is a bad analogy. It was just a mess, just a tangled mess. And so he came and he made sense of it all and got the wires. It looks beautiful. I'll have pictures up for you before the week's out on Facebook. So anyway, that step's done, and now we're setting up a work day and going to bring in a guy, some bricklayers to do some more work. Hopefully by the end of the year, our team member, associate pastor, Francis Valdo, will be living in the pastoral house. And then camp ministry next week. I'm going to be going out to camp, spending a couple of days. That was supposed to be this week. Schedule changed, so going out next week. And we have received an offering there. And so, in fact, I'm going to put up here, I just want to throw up here I have a camp project funding meter that I've put up. The last couple of days, I have not done that. So I'm going to do that right here. And you can see on Facebook anyway, the link to the camp project, and there's several projects there that have not yet been funded, and you can participate in those. And if you would like to, then you can just send me a line and I'll tell you what you need to do. We have some other, let's see, the church, camp. Sorry about that. Yeah, we've got that project going on, and some other things coming up. 2018 is going to be a year of conferences. Going to be traveling three or four times for conferences that I'm really excited about. Lots of good things. Missions conference, actually 2 missions conferences now, and a couple other conferences I'm going to be speaking at. So request your prayers. I prepare for those. I'm preparing a few Sunday school lessons for some Sunday school material for our press here. So I would ask, these are all big projects. We got Missionary Max, the third book, which I'm starting to work on. If you haven't read Missionary Max, go on Amazon. Missionary Max and the Jungle Princess and Missionary Max and the Lost City are already available. I'm reading this one to my sons right now and just finishing up. I don't know if they did, but I just had a blast reading it. It's like, oh yeah, I wrote that. That's great. So anyway, you can go on Amazon.com, search Missionary Max. You'll find those. The third book is in the works. But I also have projects to translate these, the first two, into Portuguese. And so lots of stuff on my plate as far as writing and materials and so on. And so your prayers for my time management skills are greatly appreciated as well. Hey, thanks for watching. Keep praying for us. Drop us a line. Let us know you're listening. Let us know you're praying. We appreciate it. Until next Monday, hopefully next week it'll be on Monday. Until next Monday, this is Andrew. God bless. See you then.